Hello, this is Susan, and I'm going to be talking in this video about self-diagnosis. I'll also talk a little bit about self-revision, but this is actually a course-specific video talking about the Diagnostic Analysis essay, which is Essay 1 in the ESL Writing Service courses. So I'll be talking specifically about the steps that you need to follow in order to complete Essay 1 successfully. The first step is going to be to collect. We'll be collecting materials that we have done, specifically the engineering activities, reviewing the modules and materials that have been covered in class. Then you'll be selecting, so you'll be looking at your engineering activities and also at your original diagnostic and making decisions about what pieces you want to include in your diagnostic analysis essay. You'll be doing some reflection, which will also involve the actual writing process, and then finally checking, which will be a little bit about some revision strategies. So the first thing that I want to do is just go back again and talk about Essay 1, review the assignment and the material, have a look at the rubric with you, and then talk about how you can go about compiling these engineering activities. Okay, so here we are in the course Moodle site, and you can see that the Essay 1 Diagnostic Analysis is here, and you'll notice that the setup of this course, each essay is a unit, and within each unit we have several modules. And so you're going to be working on each of these modules, and as you do each module, we will ask you to do an engineering activity where you have to think about your diagnostic and how you did, and apply the skills that you learned in that module. Okay, so let's just have a look at the essay assignment together. Keep in mind that this is an essay assignment. It should be written in academic style. It's not a reflection essay, so this is not a self-reflection. You're going to be writing an exploratory essay. It's going to be about 2 to 3 pages, talking about your diagnostic and changes you would recommend. This is not a revision of the diagnostic essay, so you will never actually revise that essay. It will stay in the form that it's in. The only revision that you're going to be doing to it is revision that you did or will be doing in the engineering activities, and then maybe little bits and pieces if it's necessary in order to make a point in one of your paragraphs. What we're really looking for you to do is to demonstrate that you understand the goals and objectives of each of the individual modules. So if you're curious about whether or not you feel confident, you can always go to the main page and look at your different modules, and you'll notice that there's goals and objectives written for each one. So here for audience, can you identify the audience markers in your essay? Do you understand this fundamental role of audience? And the same for each of the other modules. You're going to see the objectives there. Okay, so let's go back to the essay assignment, and whenever you're approaching any essay assignment, before you start writing, make sure you go back and look at specifically what your instructor has asked you to do. So we are asking for you to describe the diagnostic that you wrote, not only its content but also process of revision and writing. So we're really focused on process and any notable or revealing changes or discoveries, and those changes or discoveries would have happened in your engineering activities. So you can consider the engineering activities a really big start, a lot of pre-writing for this essay assignment. When you're doing the second step, drawing upon all of the readings and lectures so far in a descriptive way, in a way that demonstrates how to do it, what that means is, if you decide you're going to write a paragraph about your thesis statement and the changes that came about in your thesis statement, what makes a good thesis statement, make sure that your essay, the essay itself, demonstrates that you do know how to write a thesis statement, in that your essay has a good thesis statement. So not only are you going to be talking about writing and talking about this revision process and the analysis that you have done, but you're also going to be demonstrating that now you are able to fulfill the goals and objectives that have been outlined in the modules of this unit. So finally, make sure you build a future context for the essay. In what ways does it connect to the objectives so far in class, and how does it deepen your understanding of anything that has come up in the readings or in the lectures? So you've got all of these engineering activities, and you're going to want to go to your Dropbox and have a look at those and see what kinds of things you've pulled out so far, review it, and then also review the course objectives and this writing assignment. Another thing that you want to go over is the assessment rubric. This is the rubric that we'll be using to grade you. Always a good thing to look at. Okay, so the rubric, you can see it ranks you on a scale, and you want to read these different descriptors. So you can see, you'll notice right away, is the purpose clear? Is the thesis specific focused? These are all things that have been covered in the modules. And so, you know, do you use pie structure? And if you go down, you'll see coherence is there, audience is there, tone and style, which was the academic style lesson, and then conventions is going to be I think it's 1.8, the advanced punctuation lesson. So everything that you've done so far is going to be not only talked about but also demonstrated in the diagnostic analysis. Now you'll notice this is only a 3-page paper, and if you look at the modules, we have 8 of those. This one's misnumbered, but there are 8 of the modules in this unit. So you're probably not going to write a paragraph about each of the different things, though you certainly could. However, you should demonstrate each of these skills in the paper. So it's possible that through your analysis you might have decided 3 or 4 of these things were the most enlightening for you. 3 or 4 of them you really feel are worth writing paragraphs about in your essay, and that's fine. Or you might decide that you actually want to talk about all of them. I mean, I think that probably the first 4 are the ones that you're going to end up focusing paragraphs on, though certainly if you felt that you discovered something significant in the last 3 modules, you might devote a paragraph to that as well. So you'll have to make those decisions as an individual, and that's going to be part of the reflection step. Okay, so we have provided a sample paper for you here, and when you look at the sample paper, I hope it's very helpful, but you need to be careful, because that this is just one of many sample essays, and it just gives you an idea of what a student has done in response to this. So it doesn't mean that it's the best way or the only way to do it. But I'm going to point out a few things here to give you an idea of what we're really looking for in this essay assignment.